If you really thought you were through all of your spiritual awakenings, all of your initiations, if your soul and your consciousness was expanded to the utmost peak of its potential, and you were just coasting through life, just have a baby. Or better yet, have twins. Motherhood doesn't just change you, it dismantles you and rebuilds you into someone that you've never met before. Hi, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cambria. I am a psychic medium. I'm a witch. And if you didn't know by now, I am a mom. Now, today we are going to dive into something that I have been wanting to make a video about and really expand upon for quite some time in honor of it just recently being Mother's Day here in the US. It is the perfect time, and I am so excited you're here. I am so grateful you're here. We are going to dive into the spiritual ascension of motherhood. It is an initiation, it is an invocation, it is a portal from this dimension to another of healing and enlightenment and transmutation. It is one of the most profound awakenings, and I don't think we talk about it in this sense quite enough. So we are going to dive fully into the spiritual awakening of motherhood. Motherhood is a portal between energy and physical matter. It is a sacred meeting point between the spiritual realm and our earthly existence, an initiation into awakening. The body transforms into a bridge between worlds, a living portal between dimensions. Within this transformation, time begins to dissolve and rebuild into something unfamiliar but deeply ancient. Through this awakening, mothers often experience an initiation and an activation of their natural-born gifts, deepening intuition, spiritual gifts, and expanded consciousness. There is something ancient that awakens in women when they become mothers, something instinctive, something cosmic. Our primal instinct awakens, and this deep love and protection awakens within us. It's a deep and ancient DNA that is sparked through the revelation of motherhood. This awakening through motherhood is so powerful that it has the power to dissolve any previous identities that we have placed upon ourselves, which is so powerful and amazing and transformative. Imagine all of the years of shadow work and identity work done just like that. Just have a baby. Don't just have a baby. The dissolution of this identity that motherhood really initiates allows us to go through this ego death and be reclaimed and rebuilt into something new. It always bothers me and has triggered me so much that we have been so deeply programmed to bounce back. Immediately after having a baby, we need to bounce back to have our pre-baby body, our pre-baby motivation, our pre-baby dreams and aspirations. When that's not in our reality, it shouldn't be, and it's okay. There is no going back to this identity, to this person that we were before, to this ego that we clinged and attached to before. That part of ourselves is dead. Not to be grim or anything. Dead in the best way, okay? And that is beautiful, and it is so divine. And I think even further that the fact that we have been programmed so deeply to believe that we need to regain and retract and bounce back just shows how deeply our society and the patriarchal structure, want us to reclaim something that should no longer exist. We should embody and embrace this new identity as mothers that is so much more powerful and so much more divine. And any way we can stick it to the man, we're going to, ladies. Okay. We are given this sacred opportunity to fall deeply and without resistance into this new state of becoming, this new state of consciousness, this new state of healing. And that is where our power is. While motherhood is this powerful, profound, beautiful spiritual awakening, it does not come without the shadow side and the shadow work that spiritual awakenings bring. The shadow side of motherhood. Let's talk about it, okay? There are versions of yourself that quietly die in the process of becoming a mother. And through any type of spiritual awakening or initiation, we know this, but with motherhood, it cuts a little bit more deep, especially the first one after having your first baby. Not all happen at once or sometimes without a lesson. Motherhood has this very profound and powerful way of showing you who exists in your life that has your best interest in mind, and maybe possibly who doesn't, who is supposed to stay through this purging and awakening, and maybe who is supposed to depart from your life. You're asked to hold everyone together while also trying to rebuild pieces of yourself. Motherhood strips you down to your core. It asks you to go inward, asks for this solitude where the magic is brewing and where we are transforming and becoming. But sometimes this process can be very lonely and isolating. This death of this ego and this identity of discovering parts of your shadow that you were already thought came to the light is so divine, and it is so on purpose. This ego death can bring up maybe once dormant emotions like rage and grief. This activation can show you the power of surrendering, in leaning into the anger, the grief, the sadness, the rage. Honoring those emotions and honoring those parts of yourself, that is where the magic happens. This leads to transformation. The more that we try to resist and go backwards and retreat and to try and find that person that we were before, it just blocks us from this new becoming, of this new awakening, of this new powerful, beautiful being of being a mom. Now, just feel all of this while on 2 hours of sleep, okay? Yes, you really thought we were going to mention that, huh? Yeah, nothing like sleep deprivation, okay? Motherhood also resembles the sacred symbol of the spiral, ancient symbol of creation and transformation and becoming and returning back to old parts of ourself. It does not move in a straight line, such as motherhood. Instead, it calls a woman inward, deeper into herself before guiding herself back outward, again as someone totally transformed. Each cycle carries its own death and rebirth, unraveling these old identities while awakening new layers of intuition and activation of power and consciousness. Lucky for us, we have so many beautiful archetypes of mothers that we can call in to our practice, our craft, and our motherhood journey. As we embody these different archetypes, we learn how to mother with deeper intention, consciousness, compassion, and authenticity. We have so many beautiful different archetypes of mothers to help guide us through these cycles of death and rebirth that happen all the time, okay? It's not just when baby pops out, you know what I mean? It's constantly, okay? I hate to break it to you. The nurturer, the protector, the guardian, the healer, the grieving mother, and the divine mother. Each one mirrors a different initiation, reminding us that these cycles are consistent, constant, welcomed, and divine and beautiful. It's not just a role that we play, but it's a continual state of becoming. Up first, we have to start with my beautiful Mother Mary. Mother Mary shows us the power of compassion and unconditional love. She moves us through times of grief while she calls in the sacred strength of motherhood. Strength of motherhood is a different initiation, it's a different activation, it's a different feeling. It's powerful, divine, beautiful, gorgeous. Through the transition into motherhood, we discover that there is pain and suffering in resistance of change, yet immense beauty and softness when we surrender to it. Mother Mary embodies this sacred surrender. Softness and trust and devotion and faith can be impeccable strength. Hecate represents another facet of the mother archetype, one rooted in shadow, in intuition, in power and strength. She reminds us that motherhood is not only nurturing and gentle, but wise and powerful, fiercely protective, and capable of guiding us through the darker seasons of death and rebirth. She is the goddess of crossroads, and motherhood puts us in this very sacred liminal space of the in-between. She is a guide to descent into the darkness, to come out on the other side, a transformed and transmutated person, a transformed spirit. There is no light without the shadow, and she reminds us to not be afraid of the cycles of life and death that we will be constantly experiencing through our journey of motherhood. She navigates the darkness to lean into the beauty of being in the unknown, of being in the unfamiliar, in being in the feeling of, I don't know what I'm doing. There's beauty in that. There is power in that. These spaces of pregnancy and postpartum are those liminal spaces of stripping us down to rebuild as someone new, to ignite our intuition, to ignite our instincts as mothers, rather than sitting in the suffering of resistance of change and sitting in the resistance of being in the unknown and the unfamiliar. Hecate's my girl. She's there. She'll be there for you too. Hecate has pulled me out of the darkness more than once. She is the reminder that there is power, there is beauty in darkness, and we might not have a sunshine and rainbows postpartum experience or birth experience, and that is okay. Your journey through motherhood doesn't have to quite look like everybody else's. There is beauty in the darkness because it will transform you in a way that I don't think can be transformed in any other facet. Now we have the most nurturing, beautiful mother of all, Mother Earth. She shows us the power and the force of creation and nourishment. Mother Earth shows us the gentle, sometimes not gentle, cycles of death and rebirth. That these cycles are transformative with patience and nourishment, just like the cycles of womanhood and motherhood, ebbing and flowing from one season to the next. That if this season brings about a little bit more shadow than you initially thought it would, that there is this light that the seasons will change. The seasons of our motherhood journey will change. Let's get a little bit more witchy, okay? This part's my favorite. I really resonate so deeply with this, so I'm very excited. The awakening into motherhood transitions us from the maiden to the mother. Maiden, the mother, and the crone symbolize these sacred beings of being a witch here on earth. And this transition into motherhood shows us the open and discovering maiden transitioning to a nurturing, responsible mother. I also do want to preface that transitioning from the maiden to the mother to the crone don't necessarily have to be strictly tied to age or becoming a mother. there are so many other initiations that transform us into these different embodiments. And a lot of that can be through wisdom and awakening. I noticed even that transitioning into the mother didn't necessarily happen as soon as I had my babies. I feel like I really transitioned into a mother through experience of protectiveness and deep, unconditional, fierce love, which doesn't necessarily happen as soon as our babies are born. These can happen through experiences and other opportunities for healing. I also feel like it comes with this feeling of don't with me anymore. You know what I mean? Like, being the mother is so powerful, and I've never felt more empowered as a spiritual being, as a woman, as a witch than I do right now. And as we are transitioning through the maiden to the mother to the crone, this transition has just made me more excited to deepen my wisdom and my awakening and my consciousness through age. I am no longer desperately clinging to my youth. And I think that transition from the maiden to the mother really sparks this excitement for more wisdom, and it also transforms my relationships with women that are in different phases of their life than I am. I have noticed there's so much wisdom and connection to other women that I just wasn't capable to my full capacity of understanding in being a maiden. We can learn so much from each other, and once we build that community with different women that are in these different cycles of life, we will be unstoppable, my friends. Okay? Unstoppable. Motherhood forced me to, I'll say that again. Motherhood gave me the opportunity to see and recognize and accept parts of myself that I maybe possibly wanted to outrun at one time. Motherhood has revealed this deep, primal instinct of love and protection, while also showing me that our little creatures, our little beings, are here on their own journey, and we have this sacred power to let them become who they are destined to be. It has expanded my heart in ways that I didn't quite know was even possible, to be totally honest. My little Aquarius heart is deep and a little slightly blocked off. Motherhood stripped that bare bones, okay? Motherhood has also shown me that it will change. Nothing will be set in stone. Everything will change, and that there is beauty in that. I feel like I have transformed over and over again since transitioning into the spiritual awakening of motherhood. And I know that I'm not done yet. And that is so exciting and thrilling and beautiful. And instead of wishing I could go back in time and relive certain parts of my maidenhood, I am now in full acceptance of that. Part of me might have needed a little bit more time to grieve, but I honor her and I love her because she has made me the mother that I am today. Even the grief that I have experienced through motherhood, I can now confidently say is medicine. It is on purpose and divine. And I'm so grateful for all of the shadow, for all of the loss that I've had to experience, because it has made me a much more powerfully resilient mother. We have this incredibly potent and powerful opportunity as mothers that through expanding our consciousness and healing parts of ourselves and welcoming in all of the shadow and transforming and alchemizing all of this energy, we have the power to radically shift the trajectory of our little people's spiritual activation and lives and healing. And that is, can you confidently say something better than that? I don't think so. Okay. I'm like, this is crazy. And that through these cycles of motherhood, we will experience the constant death and rebirth, and that moving through the seasons of life and the seasons of motherhood, we will come out on the other side where it'll be sunny and beautiful and rainbows and sparkles. And we will have moments that we will have to go inward and purge and grieve, and that is okay, and it's beautiful. To mother is to become softer and stronger all at the same time. Motherhood has sparked any more spiritual activation or transcended you into a different level of consciousness, I would love to hear about your experience, and please leave a comment below. Us moms really need to stick together. And if you're going through your very first experience into motherhood, welcome. We are here for you and we love you. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. You are beautiful. You are magic. You are divine. And I'll see you next time. Bye.